Thanks for staying on with us. You're watching Notepad. I'm your host, Ibrahim Sani. We shall take a different tack into the conversation for this evening. Today we shall ask an educator in a Malaysian university, namely the International Islamic University of Malaysia, about how they manage their award-winning, globally recognized debate team. I have with me in the studio Mizan Muhammad, the Director of the IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center, or IWON. She's recently been promoted into the position earlier this year. Mizan, again, congratulations for the promotion, I suppose. And it's plenty to, we have plenty to talk about, but let me just talk about what IWON is for the benefit of the viewers. What is it all about?
IWON stands for IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center. It is a center that is specifically dedicated to supervise, to develop, and to provide an avenue for the students to develop their skills in oratory. And of course, it is also a center that is meant to promote the university's niche in debate and oratory. It actually started with a very humble beginning. Way back in 1988, when we started with our debate program, we only had a debate club. And but with a very clear vision that our rector had set at that time. Our second rector, Tan Sri Sulaiman at that time, Abdul Hamid Sulaiman, he came up with this vision that debate is not supposed to be only to win tournaments, and we should not see debate as only a competition, but instead is an avenue, is a platform for us to bring about ideas and changes, bringing about or featuring the ability of our students on an international map. So with that, we started to establish a unit. Back then it was known as Speech and Interpersonal Communication Enhancement Unit. From a unit, we grew up as a department, and in 2014 we finally became a center on its own.
Is there a parallel to this organization to other public universities in Malaysia?
For the time being, no. We are the only university that has a center dedicated only for debate and oratory.
Okay, let's talk about results.
Yeah.
IIUM, or the International Islamic University of Malaysia, has won numerous international and local awards, all the way from the world's best public speaker, you know, back then in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, and many other international debate competitions. Yeah. Is it causation or correlation in terms of having the center, or at that point in time unit, versus the creation of winners in public speaking tournaments?
I think there is, because when we set this center, actually the university invested a lot in terms of the financial resources, the human resources in manning the center. So because it's so specific in terms of our expertise, we are very focused in producing world-class debaters. Hence, we could see the recent achievement when we won the Australasian, the first Asian team that has won that championship.
Right. Let's put things in focus. The Australasian Championship is a competition amongst international universities in Australia, New Zealand, all the way to the rest of Asia, from Japan to even the Middle East.
Yes.
And UIA won this tournament.
Won this tournament in 2016.
And being the first, I guess, non-New Zealand, Australian team to win.
Correct.
And this doesn't come about overnight.
It does not.
In a competition where English isn't our native language.
Yes. Actually, the team that won the Australasian back in 2016, we started to nurture them as early as their foundation years. That's when we decided to start sending them to international tournaments, knowing that they, at that time, when we sent them for Asian tournaments, for example, we knew exactly that they wouldn't win at that time. But
These are basically feeder teams,
Yes.
so it's I guess more senior teams
Yes.
at the main campus.
Main campus, yes.
When we talk about these debate growth trajectory, it must cost a lot of money for universities to invest in these students. And how is it like, the financial structure of the center, I guess in this case IWON Center, and the financial structure of it, in trying to maintain a sustainable developmental growth program for the debaters?
All right. It's a very interesting question, especially today when we have all these financial issues, right? But
Yeah.
I think that's where IWON is very lucky, because year by year, the allocation that is given to us has never been cut. The university has always prioritized their investment, especially in student activities, that IWON would get some amount of money. But that is of course not the only source of income that we are relying on. We are, as other centers, struggling. We come up with some initiatives in getting some additional amount of money. For example, support from the alumni, as well as holding some programs that would help us to get some amount of money just to cater the needs of our teams to go abroad especially.
When you say those things, does it mean that you have fundraising programs? Do you sort corporate sponsorship? What are we talking about?
Yes. Our inter-school debating competition, which is the largest inter-school competition in the country.
So this is a
for
competition
example.
where high schoolers
High school
compete,
students compete.
and they come from everywhere in Malaysia,
Everywhere in Malaysia.
including some in Sarawak. And
Yeah.
so they all congregate at the main campus in Gombak UIA.
Correct.
And then they debate over time.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's through this program that we are seeking help from outside agencies or corporate institutions to fund the program. So the balance from that program is what we use to support the teams.
Okay, so
basically.
this is of course a recurring event, but I'm pretty sure, just like in any other organizations, your costs go up year on year,
Yes.
even if it's so ever so slightly. Do you think that the reliance on not just your organization, not just UIA per se, but Malaysian universities as a whole, we need to have a serious conversation into how they can tap into the endowment fund, into how alumni can actually reach back to their alma mater and help them out? Is that a serious consideration right now in 2019?
Yes, indeed. Recently, we have launched, in IIUM, for example, we have launched Orator's Alumni Chapter. This is an initiative by the university in trying to pull back all our successful alumni to give back to the university and support these initiatives in sending the new generations to carry the same mission, to carry or to do the same thing that they did when they were in the
so
university.
paying it forward or returning back the favor, whatever
Yes.
term that you may call it.
Yes.
And how is it coming along?
We are getting the support that we needed. For example, we have our alumni helping us in building the connection and connecting us with some organizations outside in order for us to secure funding.
Would you say that the alumni of the debaters in UIA would be one of the greater assets that you guys have right now?
Definitely. Definitely, because I think we have our alumni who are holding a lot of important positions, not just in the government, but also in the corporate sectors, in locally as well as abroad. So definitely they have met the target that the university set from the very beginning, that we don't want to produce only champions in debate, but also people who make changes outside after they have graduated and contribute back to the university.
Some of your luminaries include myself, that I have to admit, and it's not just admit, but proud of.
Yeah.
We have one of the world's youngest ministers, He is perhaps one of the more interesting alumni of IWON. There's also CFOs, including that of local banks,
Yes.
and CEOs even.
Yes.
And yet we are still talking about a very, I guess, nascent kind of fund for the Orators Alumni Chapter.
Yeah.
Is that, shall we blame somebody in terms of why this fund is not bigger, or is it not the point of finding whose fault is it, but right now we have this, let's grow this? What is the story here?
I would rather go on the positive side, that because this is a new initiative that we are taking, and I think we are all looking forward in contributing back. We have a lot of discussion already among the alumni, some conversations that happens through the WhatsApp groups, for example, in how they can contribute back. And we have also managed the account where we specifically created an account for the alumni to channel their personal contribution, for example. So, but I think in terms of the way the alumni can contribute, it's not just by giving their money. But I think more importantly that we are trying to look at how they can help us to connect with other collaborators outside. Because when we talk about the programs that IWON want to do or to organize, we don't want to do it just by ourselves, but we want to get more people to be involved in these initiatives of promoting debating and oratory as a culture that is embraced by not just a few, but if possible by the masses.
And trying to make sure that everybody gets to see the benefits of this kind of behavior and culture.
Yes.
Right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss a little bit more with the Director of IWON of IIUM, Mizan Muhammad. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for staying on with us. You are watching Notepad and I'm your host Ibrahim Sani. Here at Astro Awani, we too champion the culture of debate. We have a sub-program called Debat Awani, and over the period of a few months, in fact it's been crossing over a year now, we've been covering fantastic debates across the plethora of the Malaysian culture, from the political debate of PKR, also the political debate of the presidency of UMNO. These are the kind of debates that we are now airing on this channel that has never been seen before. Of course, much of this is inspired by the culture that is currently being happening at IIUM, or the International Islamic University in Malaysia, where through their debate center called the IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center, or IWON, they have inspired us here at Awani to continue on the culture of debating, because it's not just an activity where you iron out your differences through arguments, it's also a mental exercise for us to actually line up the arguments very, very neatly and through, I guess, proper arrangements of thought and clarity of thought for us to find out what is the best way forward. It's not about winning, it's about trying to find the best way forward. So here I have with me Mizan Muhammad, the Director of IWON, to discuss at length about the kind of conversations that are currently happening at both IWON and the center's level, but as well as at the IIUM level itself. Mizan, let's pick up where we left off. The conversation at IWON is plenty. We know that you guys are doing plenty of stuff. What would be some of the marquee events that we can actually, I guess, the public can actually enjoy as well?
All right. This year, actually, we have started with, actually it started last year, with a flagship program, we call it. It's a university's initiative, but every department or every center would have to come up with their own initiative or flagship program. So at IWON, we have come up with an initiative called the Reaction Youth Engaged IIUM Public Debate Series. It is actually an initiative from the youth for the youth. that's basically the spirit.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to engage more young individuals to be involved in this kind of intellectual discourse. So we want it to be celebrated as an idea where you can talk about sensitive issues, where you can talk about things which are not talked about in the public, not just for the community on the campus, but we want it to reach out to the outside communities as well. So for that initiative, we are very lucky actually for Astro. Thank you so much to Astro for agreeing to collaborate with us in bringing this new culture to the mainstream.
By the mass.
Correct.
One of the topics that we did with you guys is on Vote 18. And that debate that happened at the Youth Engagement Series took place, well, months, I think 1 year even, before the Youth 18 vote actually took place. Of course, we're not trying to say because you guys had that debate, people change, but it's having those debates that kept that conversation going over the, I guess, period of months that followed after that. Are you proud of that kind of conversation? It's not just about debating, it's about translating it into action. And one that was never seen by the country in terms of cross aisle assistance. Both opposition and government decided to vote together on such a topic.
We are. This is actually one of the programs or the highlights of our initiatives. We started last year with the first one in September, which have received a tremendous support. We actually got a 30,000 live viewership for the first debate that talked about fake news at that time. And then we continue with a more sensitive issues like the issue of setting minimum age of marriage for Muslims. Something that we've never seen before that being debated on a public forum. And with that, of course, we are very proud because we managed to engage not just one side of the coin, but we get to see the opposing views coming either from the proposing side as well as the opposing side. And I think for public debate series, the uniqueness is that we celebrate differences regardless of religion, political ideology, as well as races.
Not to mention nationalities as well, because you are an international center with plenty of students coming in from everywhere.
So the viewers, we have managed to get viewers from a very diverse background as well. Not just the live viewers in the hall, but also on Astro Awani 501.
The stretch now is that you guys are doing great, you guys are producing great talents. We know that you guys do well internationally in terms of competition, and many of your alumni is doing a lot of work. Would this mean that this would underscore the need for you to be financially independent? Sorry, I just have to fall back on that argument, right? Because the Harvard Endowment Fund, perhaps the biggest endowment fund for any university, sits at 37 billion US dollars. That's over 100 billion ringgit. Malaysia, you know, there's a university, private university, there's a public university here in Malaysia that has an endowment fund in the hundreds of millions of ringgit. Do you think that because of the successes that you are on and you want to ride on that particular success, you can do more on this front?
We are hoping to do more, definitely, because we see that we are becoming more popular now. And I think this popularity is not just us championing the debate tournaments, but also in holding or in organizing other initiatives in engaging or in making debate as a culture, in making or in fulfilling the vision or the target of having a debating nation. So definitely we need more fundings on this, and we are hoping that there will be more corporate entities, for example, to join us and help us out in this matter. Because we are serious, we have some programs that we have in mind, but definitely it needs a lot of funding in order for us to make sure it happens as it is.
Okay, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss a little bit more with Mizan Muhammad of IIUM. Thanks for staying on with us. You're watching Notepad. I am with Mizan Muhammad of the Debate and Oratory Center of International Islamic University Malaysia. So what is the plans moving forward for IWON right now?
All right. As we already have this one big program called IIUM Public Debate Series, we are going to continue with that public debate series program, but this time we are targeting at youth and democracy. This is in line with, I think, the recent development that happens in our country, where youth are going to be a game changer. Next election, there will be a lot of youth.
We're talking about millions of people becoming youth voters.
Yes, definitely. So I think we need to educate them on the concept of democracy, on the idea of them being voter. What does it mean by being a voter? Like, do you just go and cross the ballot,
name on the ballot,
name on the ballot, or you have a bigger thing to decide? So I think this is a very important initiative on our part, because so far we have not seen any programs that specifically dedicated to nurture the young minds regarding the concept of democracy and how they should play their roles in mapping or in charting the future of the country.
Do you think that this initiative needs, I guess, a lot of support, not just financial, but I guess what you alluded to just now, network support, opening up the right channels, those kind of stuff?
Yes, of course. Other than financial support in order to make this happen, because we are looking at having this across the country. So the way we want it to happen, it will not just happen on IIUM ground, but we are also looking at some opportunities if we can go tour the country, even to Sabah and Sarawak, to bring about the discussion on this particular issue.
What kind of impact do you imagine will be created from this particular program?
We hope that it will shift the way the youth look at themselves in this country. Like, what are they as a future voter? What kind of decision will they make for the country? We hope to educate them how they should be responsible in making their choices, and in, of course, playing their role in getting the information correct, in assessing the information, in evaluating the information, so that when they make the decision, it is based on an informed choice.
Okay.
That's how we want it to happen, and we hope that this is going to be our contribution towards this democracy.
All right. And of course, if people want to learn more, is there a sub-website or microsite for you guys?
We do have our IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center on IIUM website. You can just go ahead to the IIUM website. On the first page of the website, you can immediately see the icon, IWON. From there, you can get a lot of information of who we are, what do we do, all the success stories of our alumni and our current debaters as well.
Yeah, so, and of course we can just hit there.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. That was my conversation with the Director of the IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center, or IWON, Mizan Muhammad. Please urge you to head on to the IIUM website and learn more about that center over there. If you've missed any part of this interview, just head on to astroon.com. Look for Notepad. These are the kind of interviews or the kind of conversations that you can get over there. Also, you can watch this interview online on your device. Download the Astronomy app wherever you get your application. Till then, thanks very much for watching and goodbye.